Well, if you look at it, companies that choose speed are choosing Andhra Pradesh because speed of doing business is our hallmark. And that's our clear competitive advantage when I go pitch Andhra Pradesh to other companies. So if you look at it, that's why we've been able to land marquee investments across sectors, diverse sectors. And that's what again makes Andhra Pradesh very unique.
But you also spoke about attracting $1 trillion worth of investment. Have you given your team a timeline to sort of achieve that? And what are the key sectors in terms of investments that you're looking at for the state, especially when we look at the India story and the kind of policies that the central government is rolling out?
If you look at it, our clear target is 5 years. We have to attract a firm commitments of $1 trillion. That will enable us to get to being a $2.4 trillion economy. Parallelly, if you look at it, energy is a very important sector. Steel, electronics manufacturing, of course, IT, data is another big sector. Medical devices manufacturing, pharma, automotive, cement. So from traditional sectors all the way up to cutting edge sectors, every sector is a play for us. And across sectors, we have built strong clusters where we have vertical and horizontal integration, where education plays a very, very important role.
Right. But Mr. Lokesh, we're also seeing a lot of competition among states, particularly with respect to South India, whether it's related to AI, deep technology now, given that the central government has given a thrust to that. How are you sort of looking at sort of positioning Andhra Pradesh to sort of lead that race? And the second part to my question with respect to competition among state is the fact that is there a fear perhaps that, we'll end up yielding more in terms of, land acquisition and other reforms?
No, if you look at it, competition is always good. Competition makes us better. When states compete, India wins. And that's something that I've been reiterating again and again. Two, if you look at it, every state has to figure out their own competitive advantage. For us, it's three. Right. We have speed of doing business. Two, we have a leader with a clear track record. That's Mr. Naidu. Two, while other states have double engine sarkar, only Andhra Pradesh has double engine bullet train sarkar. Yes, we have the Namo government, which is not Narendra Modi ji alone. It's Naidu ji and Modi ji together, which is what I call double dhamaka in Andhra Pradesh. And that's what makes Andhra Pradesh very unique.
Absolutely. But let's also talk about the kind of investments that you're looking at coming from India's neighborhood. You also mentioned during your presentation that, there will be representation from several different countries. Diplomats are expected. The Honorable Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal is expected. But what is your sense of the kind of investments that we can expect from India's neighborhood, given the fact that our ties with countries like China have normalized in the past couple of months?
I think it just started. A lot more will happen. Conversations have just restarted. So I believe that we are in the right direction. Yes, in electronic space, we are attracting investments. There are specific sectors, focus areas, and a lot of domestic companies that are also working on JVs. So exact numbers, details, wait for 2 more days.
Okay, since you say that exact details for that, we'll have to wait for 2 more days. But I'll ask you, since you mentioned about the electronics components ecosystem, and there's been a lot of interest from global players, including, Google, Samsung, and of course Apple, which have helmed the India growth story in this particular sector. Could you give us an indication of what are the kind of companies that are further looking at expanding in India, or will we see more investments from these companies?
See, PCB board manufacturer to the companies that make the entire casing. The actual chassis of a mobile phone, to the screen, to the battery, to the haptic engine, the camera lens module, the whole 9 yards. So I'm going after them very systematically. While Apple, Samsung are the end brands, close to about 1,000 companies have to come together to make a phone a reality. For me, it's about chasing those 1,000 companies and building the entire ecosystem, which is what I call the vertical, integration in the cluster. And the horizontal bit is where my department comes in. Right? You have education, skill development. You'll have, testing, certification. That's very, very important. So I'll give you an example. Let's talk about solar cell manufacturing. Out of the top 10 companies in India, 5 are investing in Andhra Pradesh, have already started construction. No, but we don't have a curriculum. I don't have a bachelor's in it. I'm doing that. I'm doing a master's program. I'm working with a global university to bring their prototyping, their expertise, to build out an ecosystem near Tirupati where all these companies are coming together. Then I'm going and chasing those companies who are going to rate these cells. So we're trying to build the entire ecosystem together. I believe that is going to be very, very important for our country. And I'm sure Andhra will lead from the front.
Absolutely. And we have to ask you this, since you're very passionate about entrepreneurs, and of course you want to sort of give a boost to entrepreneurs in the state. You have spoken about the $15 billion worth of investment from Google. You've also spoken about the additional $120 billion worth of investment that we're going to see. But where do entrepreneurs and small MSMEs, they figure in your plan of as far as investments in the state are concerned?
See, for me, Google is important, but equally a mushroom processor is important, or a banana processor, or a mango processor is very, very important. A lot of thrust is on MSME in Andhra Pradesh. So every assembly constituency has now an MSME park. So we have built it out. We are building the entire ecosystem that is required for it. And we are enabling entrepreneurs to come together. And we are going to create that entire ecosystem and make it very vibrant. So someone who wants a 500 square yard to all the way to about an acre of land, we'll be able to give so even a plug and play, or if they want to build out their own facility, we'll be able to do that.
Speed is going to be key to your plan of attracting investments in the state. Mr. Lokesh, just one final question before we let you go, and I have to ask you this on the tariff scenario. The Indian government has indicated that it is bracing for any sort of scenario. A deal could be struck within a month. It could take a couple of months, but the Indian government is bracing for all sorts of scenarios to come up. We have presented a proposal to the United States. How is the state of Andhra? How are you sort of supporting businesses in the state in terms of a diversification per se?
If you look at it, Aqua is very large. We are only second to Ecuador. There's a 34% taxation difference, tariff difference between Ecuador and India in shrimp. So I worked with the entire industry. I said, how do I reduce your cost of production? And what is the role of the government in it? What is the role of industry in it? Parallelly, we are saying, okay, let's move up the value chain. So we've done shrimp, a certain variety, how can I do it better? So I'm working with James Cook University in Australia to bring them down, to do a center of excellence, research and so on and so forth. That's one part. The second part, we have opened new markets. Ukraine, Russia, Australia has reopened now for us shrimp. So we're working across, we're looking at the globe and saying which are the countries that will consume, at what price point they'll consume. And I believe net at the end of it, India will do better.